I started to feel a little bit off, like I just felt my head was a little bit woozy. And so that was on a Friday afternoon. I left work. At that point, this was on the 13th. Um, Recommendations were already in place to, stay home if you weren't feeling well. So I went home and told my wife and daughter, I said, I think chances that I have coronavirus or COVID are very, very low, but let's just use this as kind of a practice run. We eventually wound up setting up an appointment for me to go in just to double check, make sure it wasn't the flu, some other things. And by that point, it was a Thursday, the following Thursday. I think it's possible maybe there was a little bit more access to testing at that point. They tested me for flu and I didn't come back positive for the flu. So they interviewed me and asked me a couple of questions about, who I'd been in contact with and things like that, and eventually decided to test me for COVID, and then said, at that point, please isolate in your house, which we did in the room that I'm in right now, which is downstairs in our house, and wait to hear back. And I heard back actually quite quickly that I had tested positive, which was a bit of a surprise. There's no clear, obvious, direct line for where we may have been exposed. There are lots of potential scenarios, but nothing obvious, nothing where we had a clear line to somebody previously who has tested positive. We, both my wife and I, encountered what are considered mild symptoms. We didn't have to go to the hospital. We did have some, my wife's fever was a little bit higher than mine. We did encounter quite a bit of fatigue over the time of my symptoms. I did start to cough more. I did have some more sort of the chest related and lung related symptoms. But again, nothing that would, when we got very clear instructions from our doctors about if our fever was over a certain point, or if we started to have difficulty breathing in a way where it felt like we were running upstairs all the time, then contact them, or depending on the time of day, go directly to the ER. We never encountered symptoms to that extent, which we're very grateful for. And I think like the majority of people who may get infected, and if they do show symptoms, the majority of them go through some version of what happened with us, where we're able to take care at home. So we're very grateful for that. One of the things about getting a confirmed diagnosis is that then there's a set of protocols that and clear direction about how we were supposed to proceed, both in the house and just sort of generally. That was really helpful to have, because for that first week when we didn't know I just was potentially sick, it was a little difficult to figure out how to be responsible, both to ourselves and in the community, about our potential exposure. It seemed really unlikely that we would have been exposed,